my whole thing is just about hilarious. Have them tell you the story, tell it again, and then bingo, you'll know if they're lying or not.
You know, some of these stories you hear, they break your heart, they make you cry, they give you chills, but it can also serve as a cautionary tale. All right, Steve, well, we are both going to CrimeCon this year. Very excited about that. It's right around the corner now. I'm curious to know, why do you think people are so obsessed with true crime?
Well, I think like anything, most people, they live a normal life, right? You wake up, you go to work, you come home, eat dinner, you watch TV, and you repeat it over and over again. And when you have crimes, people committing murder, committing sexual assault, these things in nature, people can't kind of wrap their mind around that some human being is capable of doing these things. It's so out of the ordinary that I think people gravitate towards it.
It's so true. And what I really appreciate about CrimeCon especially is one of the big objectives is to make true crime more than just the sensational headlines that people are so fascinated by, are so curious about. Why do you think that's important to do, to really get to the heart of the matter and not just, you know, distract folks with these wild headlines sometimes?
Well, I think if people got to see the other people that are affected by these crimes, when somebody loses somebody, a loved one, the impact that it takes on family members, friends, you don't want, as a victim, you know, as a parent or a relative of a victim, to have that centralized, right? Like this is somebody that has, you know, maybe lost somebody. So people don't see that aspect of it. They see the headlines, you know, because you're kind of looking at it like it's not real, right? You're reading about it in the paper. We watch Netflix, we watch all these different streaming services where there's shows after shows about murder. So sometimes there's a little disconnect between what is real and, you know, what is just entertainment.
Right. That disconnect, that's exactly what I think about too. You know, it can be used for entertainment so often. We're fascinated by these stories, but we forget sometimes, or folks can forget, that there are people and lives that are being impacted. And even though we watch for 30 minutes or 60 minutes, people will be living out the trauma and the reality of these cases for the rest of their lives, the survivors. You're set to hit the stage at CrimeCon this year for Steve Wilkos live and investigative discussion. Tell me a little bit about what folks can expect from that.
Well, I think people are just, you know, for myself, I still think of myself as a policeman. I don't think of myself as a talk show host. Of all the jobs I had, I still identify as a policeman. My father was a Chicago policeman for 30 years. So, you know, and then when I did think, when I got my show, that, oh, I'm not going to have to be a policeman anymore, because it's a hard job. But then we kind of just kept doing the policeman thing with my show. And we really did focus on what a policeman does. And so I think it's just, you know, what I'm going to talk about is all my experiences for the last 32 years of being involved in either law enforcement or doing a TV show that covers a lot of really high profile crime stories and things that. So, I mean, I'm just going to speak from my experiences.
And is there any chance for Q&A? Can folks who are, you know, on the ground there look forward to maybe talking or interacting with you at all?
Well, this is my first time at CrimeCon, and I'm told that this is your first time too. So I'm a little bit excited about it. And I'm very open to the public. And, you know, sometimes I'm a little too giving, but when I make appearances, I love interacting with the fans. With the show, we've done a lot, you know, we go to do a lot of appearances and stuff, but this is the first time we're really focusing on the crime aspect of the show. And, you know, not to say that it's been a stigma or such, but truthfully it is. I got off the Jerry Springer show. And a lot of times people are always like, if they've never seen my show, they think, well, you must be doing the Jerry Springer show. And I said, well, then you've obviously never seen my show, because my show is nothing like the Jerry Springer show. So it's really good to be recognized that with this CrimeCon and giving us a chance to even get our show and what we do out there a little more. So I'm really looking forward to that. What I want to know is why are you so passionate about this CrimeCon, and are you passionate about these crime stories?
Yeah. For me, it started back in local news. So I'm from Ohio, and I worked my way up the local news ladder for the first 3-4 years of my career. And it was when I was anchoring the evening news in Dallas, Texas, that I started to report on a lot of really painful, very difficult stories. There was a lot of death, a lot of destruction, a lot of crime. But I realized, as difficult as those stories were to tell, they were so important. And they were the ones that I felt most proud about telling after the job was done. Because I'm sitting down with these families, I'm sitting down with the husbands, the wives, the children of people who are living, like I said, the trauma of these terrible cases. So that always was a passion for me after that experience. So to now be at Access Hollywood and to, be able to do the red carpet reporting and the celebrity interviews, that's really awesome. And I love that part of my job. But the true crime especially is so rewarding because I feel like we're a part of giving voice to stories that really matter. And also they serve as cautionary tales. Some of these stories you hear, they break your heart, they make you cry, they give you chills, but it can also serve as a cautionary tale. So to be a part of, helping empower, inform other people on what not to do, on what went wrong here, on what the red flags are or the warning signs are that you might be in a similar situation that could have an unfortunate ending before it's too late. That's something that really not just fascinates me, but that makes me proud. So that's where my passion for true crime really first.
Well, when you
first
just
came.
said that, the cautionary tale, I wanted to say bingo, because that's kind of what I preach on my show. These stories aren't just for entertainment. It's also to, learn from other people's unfortune. But I do believe it's important that, especially on our show, when we talk about young people and the pitfalls of life and, the things that can happen, to say, hey, maybe I do need to be more aware of my surroundings. I do need to lock my door. I do need to remove things out of my car and not leave them in plain sight. Just all those type of things that, you were saying, you look at that and you say, maybe I need to be more aware of what's going on in my life to prevent myself from being a victim also.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. You share so much of your approach. It's so no nonsense. That's why people love you. That's why we enjoy watching the show. But then there's a balance, right? You get a little humor in there. It's very sincere. Why do you think that that's worked so well for you when it comes, especially to helping find justice or making us want to listen to these cautionary tales?
Well, I'll just say this, why we balance it out a little bit with some humor once in a while is because my wife does that for my wife is my executive producer. She does that for my own mental health, because if I came into work every day and did, child sexual assault every day and rape and murder, the job has to be where I want to come to work. And if I just did that every day, I probably would retire. So, but listen, when I was a policeman, I worked in a really a district with a lot of crime, with a lot of gang members and things like that. I wanted to be a policeman. I did not want to be a guy that wore the uniform and wrote tickets. Okay. I wanted to go to work and get the bad guy. I looked forward to it. I enjoyed it. There's no better feeling in the world, and a lot of people won't experience this because of whatever job they have. But when you're a policeman and you have an impact on somebody's life, and I always say, if you got back their stolen car, or you found their missing child, or you got the guy that shot their child, there's no better feeling in the world that when people express their gratitude that you impacted their life, or you got them a form of justice, that you went out and arrested the guy that did some terrible things. So for me, and then it carried over to the show where we get truth for people, we get justice for people, we've solved some crimes, and when you get that, and a lot of times I'll get a letter or an email saying, Steve, thank you so much, you impacted my life, you've changed my life, and that's just a good feeling, knowing that we're doing a TV show, but we're also, I like to think that we are making a difference and we are helping people. So it's a very gratifying feeling.
Your show has helped over 50 investigations, arrests, convictions. When you look back at all of the stories that you've given a platform to, is there any one in particular that sticks out to you?
Well, the one that's sticking out to me, and we did it a couple of years ago and we just updated, was Alicia Rudd. This is a woman who had an 8-year-old child that she really just kind of like passed off her child. This man was last seen walking into a hotel room with this 8-year-old little girl. They've never found the girl. The man that was on that videotape from the hotel surveillance, he ended up killing himself, killed his wife, then killed himself. And this is a young girl who now, I think this is 7 or 8 years later, so she'd be about 16, and she just vanished. And the mom, personally, I think she knows a lot more than she's ever let on. But then this little girl had other family members in her life that would really like to know what happened to her. I'm praying and hoping to God that she's still alive. So that's a story that sticks out to me because we haven't had closure with it. And it's in the Washington, D.C. area. And we kind of keep that story alive and hoping somebody comes forward with some information.
Well, hopefully that information does come. Steve, it was great to talk with you today. I'm excited, even more excited now for CrimeCon. So I'll see you on the ground in just a week or two here.
I look forward to meeting you.